In this video, we'll solve these three rational equations. Starting from A is in the form of A over B equals C over D. In other words, it's a fraction equals another fraction. What we'll do here is cross multiply. So that means A times D equals B times C. Okay, so we will use this property to solve A. That means 10 times n minus 1 should be equal to 3 times n plus 6, right? Cross multiply. Okay, then we'll just solve this equation. Distribute 10n minus 10 should be equal to 3n plus 18. Move all the n terms to one side. I will subtract 3n here. That will give me 7n minus 10 equals 18. Now plus 10 on both sides. So I have 7n equals 28. Now divide 7 on both sides. Let me erase this part. Divide 7 on both sides. I have n equals 4. Okay, when we solve a rational equation, we want to make sure to check if the solution you got will make each denominator with x or with n equal to 0. So check over here. N equals 4. If you plug into the only denominator with the variable n in it, you will have 4 plus 6, which is 10, right? This is not 0. That means this solution is safe. This solution will be a solution to this equation. If somehow we solve the equation and we get n equals negative 6, for example, that's not the equation, the solution of this equation. But if somehow you get n equals negative 6 as the solution, then after you plug it into the denominator, you will see, oh, that's making the denominator equal to 0. So this solution will not be a solution to the equation. We'll have to eliminate that solution. Now let's look at the second equation. This equation is not in the form of a fraction equals another fraction. It's actually a fraction plus a fraction equals another fraction, right? So we cannot use the same method we used earlier. So what I will do over here is to first find the least common denominator, LCD. To find that, I need to somehow factor over here because it's not very clear what that denominator is made out of. Right, so I'm going to write down the left side, keep the left side the same, and factor the denominator of the right side, which turn out to be x plus 4 times x minus 2. And after that, it's pretty clear that the LCD here is the product of those two factors, right? So it's x minus 2 times x plus 4. Okay. So after we find the LCD, we need to turn each denominator into the common denominator. So that means I'll have to multiply the first denominator by x plus 4. Do the same on top, and I'll have to multiply the second denominator by x minus 2. Multiply the same number on top. Okay, and the third one is already the least common denominator. We don't have to do anything to it. All right, so let's now look at the left side. The left side has a common denominator of x plus 4 times x minus 2. Okay, on top, we can just add the top now, right? Since they have the common denominators. So the top, we have 2 times x plus 4 plus 1 times x minus 2, which is just x minus 2. All right, that's That's the left side. The right side is x over x plus 4 times x minus 2. So since over here it's two fractions on the left side and the right side, we have two fractions equal and with the same denominator. It's kind of like the situation with, 5 of x over 5 equals y over 5, something like that. And for sure, x must be equal to y, right? So here it's the same thing. Since the denominators are the same, we can assume that the top must be the same. So we can say 2x plus 4 plus x minus 2 must be equal to x. We can make the two tops the same because their denominators are the same and the two fractions are the same. Right. Okay, now we just solve this equation. Distribute over here, 2x plus 8 plus x minus 2 equals x. Combine the like terms on the left side, you have 3x plus 6 equals x. All right, I'm going to move the 3x to the other side, so subtract 3x on both sides. So I have 6 equals negative 2x. Divide both sides by negative 2. So x equals negative 3. So don't forget over here we need to check if your solution, negative 3, is making each denominator equal to 0 or not. If it does, then that means that solution will not be the solution of the problem. Right? Okay, so you check over here. We can just check over here. If you plug in negative 3 over here, no, that's not making the denominator equal to 0 because negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5, not a 0. Right? Negative 3 plus 4, it's not the 0 either. And over here, since each factor is not 0, and well, that denominator is not 0 with our solution. So that makes our solution safe. That is a solution to this equation. Okay, so that's B. Now let's look at C. Problem C here. For problem C, I will use the same method as problem B, which is to find the common denominator. But first, I want to factor every denominator so that it's easier for me to find the least common denominator. Right, okay, so the first denominator, x plus 2, there's nothing to do with it. It's pretty factored. So now, x squared minus 4 can be factored as x plus 2 times x minus 2 and 2x plus 1 over, okay, there's something to do with this 2 minus x. Because 2 minus x is not exactly the same with this x minus 2 here. They are closely related. They are opposite numbers, but they're not the same. So what you have to do, what I will do is factor out the negative sign to make a negative of x minus 2. And somehow I want to get rid of that negative sign. So what I will do is to move this negative sign to the top. So I'm going to move this negative sign and put it to the top over here. Okay. Now look at the three denominators here. It's a lot easier to find the least common denominator, right? It is x plus 2 times x minus 2. Okay. So now all I have to do is turn each denominator into the common denominator. So for the first denominator, I need to multiply the top and the bottom by x minus 2. So x minus 2. So multiply the same thing on top. X minus 2. we do not have to change the second denominator because it's already the LCD here. Now I have to change the third denominator to the common denominator by multiplying it by x plus 2. Okay. Now we have the common denominator. So now all I have to do is to make the top equal, right? So I have the top, we have this plus 20 equals negative 2x plus 1 times x plus 2, right? So I have 1 minus 2x times x minus 2 plus 20 equals negative of 2x plus 1 times x plus 2. Okay, so I'm going to first expand that part by distributing, well, just simple multiplication. Right, so I have x, and that's minus 2. And over here you have negative 2x squared and plus 4x plus 20 on the right side. Okay, let me forget about the negative sign. Let's just do this part first. You have first 2x squared, and you have 4x, and this way you have x, this way it's a 2. Okay, combine like terms on the left side. So first term will be the negative 2x squared, right? Then we have a pair of like terms. That's 5x, and the two numbers adding up, that's positive 18 equals the right side. We have to add these two up, that's 5x, and distribute the negative sign. I have negative 2x squared minus 5x minus 2. Okay, now I can cancel out the negative 2x squared on both sides, right? Okay, now it is a linear equation. What we will do is move all the x terms to one side and move all the numbers to the other side. So I'm going to add 5x on both sides. So that will give me 10x plus 18 equals negative 2. Now I'm going to subtract 18 on both sides. So 10x equals negative 20. Divide both sides by 10. I have x equals negative 2. Well, is that our solution? Well, don't forget we have to check if our solution is making the denominator is equal to 0, right? So if you go back to the denominators, well, this negative 2 is making the first denominator equal to 0, right? And you know we cannot have a 0 in the denominator because that will make that number undefined. So since this negative 2 is making that 0, that is not a solution. So the only possible solution is not a solution. We say this problem has no solution. And I hope you find this video helpful, and I will see you in the next video.